All right, this is the introduction to the declawed reptilian engineer species Tsanghar named Kesiel from Signal Out of Space, Book 1 of this fine crew.
The atmosphere of the Stellar 7 orbiting station was simply magical. I experienced a symphony of different voices, the screeches and clangs of moving metal, and disparate bodily functions of more spacefaring species that I knew how to name. Naturally, as I had never before visited an interstellar hub, I had the luxury of bright-eyed fascination about everything I saw. To think that most of my litterkin had never even left the home burrow for more than a day, and yet I was shipping off to the edge of this galaxy, to rendezvous with the fiercest warriors, to ever reach out across the stars before destroying themselves entirely. But I am getting ahead of myself. From the moment I exited the routeliner, I wasn't thinking about interstellar politics and the greater forces who wrested for control. No, I was being delighted by the little furry numbers, who flinched at the sight of me, and would have blanched if only they could change their color. I had not studied more than a few phrases of Belbe, and might have gotten these wrong. "Greetings," I said, trying to sound exuberant but not hungry. "Which way to upper platform 24?" From behind me, an unpleasant digit pushed up against my scales. I refrained from trying to trip the owner with my tail. It was another Tsanghar, not from my home burrow, or even my native moon, but with faction camaraderie that I was not to disrupt. She said in our language, "Stop talking to the prey, Kesiel. Turn instead to the display board." Some of my travel companions had already done so, and picked a heading, but I was determined not to leave the interaction without a tale to balance. I turned to the diminutive creature, who had begun biting the hair off the back of its wrist in worry, giving a sweeping flourish with my own hand, complete with a friendly tail arch. I said, "Thank you, safe travels," or something close in pronunciation. "Kesiel," she hissed, "your conduct is most embarrassing. Do not forget that we are ambassadors, not only for the Yavame, our cluster of moons, and therefore our primary faction, but the Tsanghari, my species." That was how we chastise each other. Dreadfully polite, if you ask me. How charming to think that I would soon learn human insults, which would put those to shame. Now, before you grow cross with your narrator over confusion, I shall clarify I am not, in fact, a human. I am a member of the sprawling Tsanghari people, who inhabit a network of moons and the occasional planet, and who apparently developed airtight bubbles for space hopping before anyone had thought of a written language to describe the feat. To humankind, we are referred to as lizards, though, to be zoologically accurate, we are physically much closer to their endangered tuatara, who have a nicer sounding name. As I would tell the checkpoint officers, my name is Kesiel, of the Yavame moons and the Tsanghari people. I had an appointment in the human home system that was more important than arguing with a stubborn next-moon toad named Lisarn. Clarification, Lisarn is not literally a toad, but another Tsanghar. Toad is merely a close translation for small warty non-sentients from our home moons. "Very well, Lisarn," I said, in as regal and stately a manner as I could stand to fake. "Please do lead on." Lisarn snarled, and revealed the sharp triangular teeth of one side of her mouth, the blackened lips framing her jaw with the burnt orange face. Then she turned and led, as instructed, meeting up with the other Tsanghari. Upon moving closer, I could see that we were not the only ones experiencing tension and trying to mask it. Though we wore little to impede movement, the thermocoils around our torsos as the only absolute requirement, every one of us lizardly folk also wore at least one band of colored symbols to signify our home moon or high matriarch, and it was clear that almost every one of them wished to assert or display some measure of superiority and physical dominance. There are obvious reasons the rest of the galaxy perceives us as snarling predators, given how much infighting there is among our people.